Well guys, are you ready to see my latest corpse I drug home? Let's go check it out. Fresh off the sale of the wagon, this is what I came up with. This is a 1979 Chevy Scottsdale pickup truck. I bought this from a place up on the mountain, about 13 miles from here. And anyway, it's been sitting up there for a long time, not driven, and that's what he wanted for it. That ain't what I gave for it. I gave about $800 for it, which may or may not be what it's worth. But anyway, it's a fairly solid old truck. It's got rust in the typical places that these trucks rust, which means it's got some here. Somebody's already done some high quality body work on it, which means they took Bondo and Bondoed it, and that's it. They even Bondoed over the piece of trim right there. It's real nice work there. And also means it's got some obviously under here, under the fender wells, and some back here which they didn't get to yet, right here in the cab corners. Like I said, it's nothing you enjoy seeing, but it's nothing surprising. Underneath though, looks pretty solid. I think it's been a Southern truck all its life. It's obviously, I think we're looking at this truck, I believe it's been restored once, because it's got it back here too. Plastic. I think it was restored at one point, because I believe by looking at it that its original color scheme was just solid red. It's probably solid red all the way up and down, and they probably painted it back this white. I'm surprised it doesn't have rust right here. Usually they rust up here above the wheel arches. But it's got a fairly nice rear bumper on it, chrome rear step bumper. Looks like it was supposed to have a piece of trim, probably one of those. Somebody might have added that. I don't know if this truck would have come with that since it's a Scottsdale. I'm thinking it didn't. Looks like somebody put hasps on here. It's not surprising either. Keep the thing closed. But a bunch of mud right here in it. Tell you what, all day long, man, they keep coming by Main Street America. It's got some under here, I guess. So no, it's not the cleanest body on it ever, but some there. Got some stickers around it, Betty Boop over here. Got your typical redneck stickers back here, which I have nothing against stickers, but I'm just not a sticker person. It's got a, oh, this is interesting. Trying to guess what this is. Is this something somebody made, or is this already like this? Because it looks like it was made this way. But here's under the hood. It's missing a grill, and there's a grill inside of it, which is not the right one for it. It probably fit, but it's also missing the headlight bucket over here. This big push bar bumper. See, it's got a transmission cooler. You're looking at it for almost the same first time as I am. I looked it over a little bit at the lot and then heard it run a couple times. It does not run good, but I don't hear any bad noises in it. And yes, there's the almighty 350 Chevy small block, which if life gets even better, it's a 4-bolt main. But evidently, yeah, came with a 350 originally, 79, but this thing is kind of hacked together, which is not at all surprising, unfortunately. But it's got a Holley. That's a Holley 80457 model number, which is just basically a 600 off-the-shelf Holley. It's one of these you can get at the parts store anywhere, and it's got a miss in it, but like I said, I don't hear any bad noises, and it didn't smoke, but it's hacked together. See, it's got that going around there, and then up here it's got the fuel line coming up, and it's got a good old plastic fuel filter, which looks horrible, and then has this, which is the fuel line, which has no clamp on it, just stuck on the carburetor. So what do you think is going to happen if you run it down the road and that fuel line blows off? Well, until the carburetor runs out of fuel, it's going to spray fuel all over the engine, probably cause a big fire. So, and then I noticed over here that it's an electric choke with one terminal not connected. We don't know where that's at, and they evidently didn't know where that's at, because this would have come with this would have had a quadrajet on it with a hot air choke. Oh, look at that. There's a vacuum line off. He said, well, it might be something in, he said it might run bad because it might be something in that distributor or something like that. I'm thinking, no, it's not that. Look at this. Yep, that's a cracked line back here. Guys, you know, I don't mean to be ugly, but don't do this sort of work. You know, if you're so excited about putting a Holley on it, at least try to do a good job. See, it's got the downshift cable, which it's not going to work because it's too loose. It's not in its bracket. It's pretty much got the throttle cable attached. I guess that's a good thing. So this will probably, I like this intake. This is not a cheap intake. It's an air gap, Performer air gap. I'm going to look, I'm hoping that that's a spread bore intake, because look under there, it's got that's a spacer, but I'm thinking that's going to be an adapter. I'm thinking that it's an adapter, which to adapt this Holley to that intake. So that would totally make my day, because I'm not going to keep this Holley on here, because I can use it for something else, or put it on something else, or sell it. So don't worry about that. It's got some nice valve covers on. I think this truck was, like I said, most of the stuff I encountered, it was nice at one point, but it's just the years have gotten to it, maybe. By the way it sounds, I don't think this is any high performance engine. I think it was just fixed up and to look good. So I'm really hoping that's a spread bore intake, because if it is, I can put a quadrajet on there, which is what I'm going to do. Boo, yes, boo. But that's what I'm going to do. So we got a wire out here. I don't know what that goes to. It's supposed to be one going to the, that's probably the temperature sender wire, because it's all looped around here. And the temperature sender, I bet so, because the temperature sender is right under here. And I feel it. Good Lord, why do people do this kind of work? I mean, seriously. So yeah. So it needs some shaping up under here for definite sure. But one good thing, one thing that I liked about this truck, you know, that I think is worth the money. I mean, it's got probably, you know, $300 worth of carburetor and intake on it, but fuel pump with a crimped line going from it. See that? Probably won't hurt anything, but battery trays is rusted to crap. And this hood, man, this hood is trashed. You see those things they've screwed. What's happened is these hinges get dried out on these trucks, and we had a 73 truck, a lot like this back when I was a kid. And the same thing happened to it. The hood hinges don't want to work, and then it buckles right here like it has. You see that? So this hood is effed. It's done. But anyway, but back what I was saying, I was glad to see that the air conditioning system is intact on this truck, because almost all the time, the first thing people do when the air conditioner stops working, let's just take that air conditioner off there. Let's just take that off there. What am I seeing here? Why is there a ground? Why is there a ground coming from this over to the firewall? What's that about? What? I mean, I understand why it would be there, but why? What's this guy doing? Is he wiring a house or something? See, I'm not going to be ugly about it, but here's the mentality when people do things like this. All they're concerned about, they don't want to think about details. They don't want to think about doing things, the detail work of making something right and making it look right. They don't care about that. They are just overjoyed by the prospect of putting those valve covers on and that intake on and that carburetor on. So, you know, we'll go back and fix it later. Right now, just get it on there. I want to hear it run. I want to hear it run. Get it on there. And this thing, I don't like this. And I'll tell you guys something. I've kind of moderated a little bit. I would still not. This guy go by here. I hear that every day, but I'm still not advised to use one of these. But they're okay if you want to do some testing and you want to run your engine and we'll see if it's picking up anything out of the tank, some bad stuff. That's fine. I didn't mean never use one, but I would not run one on a vehicle permanently. No way, no how. Because you see, look, you see how that thing, I'm going to move this. You see how that end of that thing is bending? Just would not do that, guys. Let's see a nut missing right here. There's no telling if this is the original engine. Sure wouldn't surprise me if it is not. But the other thing was happening is this alternator belt is squealing, and I can see right away that the alternator is cockeyed. Can you say that on the internet? Cockeyed? You see where the pulley is? Alright, when the belt comes across here, I can see it real clear. The belt is going back this way. It's being twisted, pushed back this way by the water pump pulley. So, there's supposed to be a spacer down there, and there is. But I don't understand why this thing is crooked. Well, see, one thing's not good. There's a bracket there I don't recognize. Got a gooped up thermostat housing. Yeah, well, anyway, so let's look at the inside of it. There's the grill. It actually does not have that terrible of an interior in it. It's got at one point, it was a pretty nice homemade upholstery job on it. There's some just homemade plain old black carpet, but they've somebody went to some work to put this dash pad on it, and the only bad thing is they covered up the VIN plate on it. So, I mean, it's not that bad. What was that? Heard a horn honk. They even did the See, that's just got one screw on it. There's Miss Cobalt leaving. They're real nice people. But otherwise, it's just typical Chevy truck stuff. I bet this truck had a tan interior, what do you think? But it's been sitting a long time. Look at all this dust. Poor old thing. Oh, that dog is missing her. He wants his mommy to come back on. And one good thing about this truck I really liked, what's really convinced me to buy it, is it has these manually adjustable gauges on it, which means there's no glass on these gauges. So if I don't like how some of the gauges are reading, I can just reach in with my finger and adjust them to where I want them to look. So that means if the gas gauge is too low, I'll just move it up here if it'll stay. So pretend like I have more gas. Of course, got the old mold on the steering wheel. I always like that. And an electrical tape wheel cover. It does have the gauges in it. It's got all the, or the older ones don't have a volt gauge. They have just a amp gauge. So yeah. Oh yeah. Relax. Relax. There's the grill. I'm thinking this grill is this grill does not look good. It looks like some of the tabs are broke off of it. See that? It's one of the tabs down there. That 350. It's what the world needs to see. Alright, I know what you're saying. I'm tired of looking at it in here. Start it up. Well, I can find the key, I will. Here it is. Alright, here we go. Cross your fingers. See, that choke is never going to open because there's no power to it. So maybe I'll have to go back and review my own video of what everything you need to know about chokes and find out why it's running on 7 cylinders. I know why it's probably running on 7 cylinders. Probably fouled a plug out. With these Chevys like this, these small box, I'm running out of memory. But with these small box like this, in my experience that you have the reasons for a misfire on the cylinder go from good to terrible, and the good is it's probably just got a burn wire or a fouled out plug. If it's a little bit worse, it's got a broken rocker on them or a broken push rod or a bent push rod and the valve's just not opening. If it's real bad, it's got a lobe worn off the camshaft. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here and go in and put the camera back in the house, I guess, and then I'm going to come out and do my very favorite thing and clean on this thing a little bit and see if I can get it looking a little bit better so it doesn't look like such a corpse out here. And we'll just follow along with this. This is not going to be any kind of organized project vehicle or anything like that. It's just here, so when I do things to it to show to you, I'll film them. I think you'd be interested in it. I'll sure do it. But you know, no firm plans on this. It's just here and it's just for enjoyment, for my enjoyment and your enjoyment. And I hope you do. Thanks for watching, everybody.